Hey guys, this is Piss Moan, and we're doing kind of a little free-form review while we play some Warframe. We wanted to
Well, let's
discuss
review more discussion, yeah.
what free-form. Did I say
So,
review?
you did. What a nerd.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, how about this whole Kevin Feige comes to
Ah,
Star Wars deal?
yeah. So personally, I like the idea. I think Kevin Feige's really good at what he does, and would be a fantastic addition to Star Wars. Being actual competent. It sounds like he's a real fan of Star Wars too. So he's like the right kind of person to, do it right. Although apparently Kathleen Kennedy was too, so what do we know?
I know her commentary seems to say differently. I know some of her commentary, like, there are very few women in Star Wars, leads me to believe that she doesn't know the movies all that well, or the lore, or any of that. Star Wars has always been chock full of great female characters.
Okay, let's capture,
Start capturing.
yeah.
Alright.
These enemies are starting to get high level. Can't kill them with my weapon anymore.
However, Kathleen Kennedy may feel about Star Wars, she's screwed it up. So
Yeah. The problem is, I just feel like I'm not positive it's her, because I've seen the way that Marvel's been going.
well, it's well, I would put it on all three: Ryan Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, and Bob Iger.
I'm wondering how involved because Kathleen Kennedy's the producer, right?
Yeah, she's the producer, and she was basically on set the entire time with Ryan Johnson. She's notorious for following and hovering around directors.
But I wonder if she's got a real, like, if she takes that kind of control route. Because it sounds like Ryan Johnson is very much of a controller. I suspect she would be if she's on set all the time. You would think that those go hand in hand.
I don't know. Ryan Johnson's a weirdo. But yeah, for me to get back and state my opinion, I am not sure I feel comfortable with Kevin Feige because, in general, as you know, my opinion on the MCU is lesser than yours. Um,
But you have
I'm
to.
beginning to wonder. Go ahead.
But think of like, don't think of the individual movies because that I don't think is fair. Think of the overall. Like, what is
Well, I
the
don't know
Marvel
about the
Cinematic
overall.
Universe?
For me, if I were to say the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I would say forgettable villains, basically non-connected storylines.
Really non-connected storyline? Well, yeah, there's some, but
They drop Easter eggs for the next movie. They don't really continue stories very well. Yeah.
because I'm thinking like I'm not looking at like the most recent ones honestly. I'm thinking back to Iron Man 1, Captain America,
All right. Again, those are all amazing.
Civil War, the Avengers.
I need to watch Civil War again. The first event, yeah, yeah. I've always said I think the Marvel has gone downhill since Winter Soldier.
I think so too. I think they honestly I feel that they peaked at Avengers 1 and Winter Soldier was, at that top still, but
Yeah, yeah, you're right. First Avengers was peak, and
and I don't think
so
it's
much potential.
and I see so much success, not even just so much potential that I can't believe that it's like Feige doing that. It doesn't make sense to me, the change in Marvel.
Well, I don't know. Captain Marvel is a disaster. I don't really, because you gotta wonder. It's like George Lucas with Star Wars. Things start to spiral downhill after a while.
I don't know.
No one's perfect forever.
Do you think George Lucas really spiraled down?
Well, he definitely lost the things. He lost the filters. Less people had control over what he was doing.
I'm not sure.
There's a lot of, well, there's a lot of statements that he had when he was doing the original trilogy. He had lots of people around to say, "Well, I don't think that's quite a good idea," and make him rethink the storylines. And there was less of that going on with the sequel trilogy or with the prequel trilogy. There was more of whatever you say, George, going on.
Okay, yeah. I also think that well, I don't think that the prequels were that bad. I need to rewatch them though.
There's
2 is pretty rough.
Yeah, 2 is was the worst Star Wars movie.
Yeah, God, not anymore.
Imagine being able to outdo Attack of the Clones for terrible. I'm down.
Dramatically so, honestly. Yeah, I just keep coming back to I feel like Feige has the real power to do a really good Star Wars. And there's, well, no. It's so beyond saving at this point.
I don't know that I... Because again, the Marvel movies aren't a planned from the beginning story. It's a right-as-you-go thing. And I don't know that Kevin Feige... He's on for announced one movie.
It sounds like he's getting a trilogy, maybe, but I'm not sure.
It's developing a movie with Marvel, or with Star Wars.
No. I hope that's not referring to specifically this one. Because I don't feel like I'd want to be associated with this one, because this is like...
Rise of Skywalker, no. It would not be Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker should be done at this point, but it's not, because we're not getting trailers for it.
Well, that's because they haven't figured out what's going to focus test best. That's what I really feel like it comes down to for me. I feel like Disney as a corporation has something fundamentally seriously wrong with it right now. And
movie by committee.
And I don't know what they do to fix that right now, because they're so bad. Like,
I don't think they can. It's
not
like any other market collapse. It has to fall apart for the new thing to come up.
It's crazy because I feel like it's not like one little bit. It's this whole so many things like
thing, yeah.
Like all the drama surrounding that. Basically, Lucas was pissed when he found out what they were doing with the series. And not only did this happen, but like Disney CEO is so open and blatant about it that he's down to just write about it in his book right before they dropped their last Star Wars movie.
Well, and that's what people are saying, is that this Kevin Feige announcement is to try and draw attention away from the fact that he said this.
But like, how disconnected is Disney? That this is where we're at.
Freaking emissaries.
Oh.
I think Disney being disconnected from its audience is an absolute given.
It seems to be fundamental from a very large structural standpoint. And
well, if you look at it, seems to be a lot of pandering to identity politics, but these don't seem to be the people going to the movies either. Because
yeah, I think it's the I don't know what I've heard some terms for it, like the wokeonomics, because I hate to say like, oh, they're pandering to the SJWs, or because it's not like that's the problem. The problem is that they're more focused on trying to hit like wickets than they are in writing a story.
Yeah, because I mean,
It just screams
all the shit
corporate.
can be done correctly. You can tell inclusive stories well. I always go back to frickin' Pratchett. So perfectly subtle with this delivery.
And instead, you've got this like you've said, I don't know, directing by committee or story by committee. What is focus testing, and what are we supposed to be doing? And
it's an industry devoid of passion.
Oh, and I hate it because I don't think that the passion's gone. I think it's just that they're
passion doesn't rise to the top.
Yeah, they're being controlled from the top. 9 relics opened.
Do one more round.
Yeah, I get that. This is kind of fun. We've never gone this long before.
Kicking ass, bro. It's also super easy. So.
They're getting to be higher level.
Yeah, they just have more health. Well, yeah.
Well, they do more damage. Yeah. Starting to go down from time to time.
Should've. I am playing Trinity. I don't know, it's too much too much interfering from the top, and the problem is Disney is trying to buy everything so they can interfere with everything from the top.
I think that's putting too much like I don't know how to say, like, intent. I don't think they're thinking that far ahead. I think they're thinking...
No, they're thinking buy everything, earn all the money ever.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is what it comes down to, is buy everything you get to control.
It's literally like the Activision EA problem. Did they buy up stuff and then ruin it, and then like, why isn't that making money? It's because you didn't know what you were that...
Yeah, you didn't know what you were buying.
You can't just take something and make it your own and expect it to just be exactly what it was.
Function the same, yeah.
I mean, if you want to buy stuff and make it your own, go ahead, but you gotta understand that that's what you're doing. You're not just buying assets to make you money.
Yeah.
It just screams.
You can't interfere if you want things to continue the same. You can't interfere. Because I'm pretty sure that Disney has checklists each of their movies have to meet now.
Yeah. And that's just so depressing. Like, could you imagine trying to be a director for a Disney film?
No, I wouldn't want to.
It'd be so frustrating.
I mean, I mentioned that I'm a writer in my free time. I don't think I'd ever sell any written, created work to Disney at this point. It's a shame, because they used to be the perfect company to do everything for adaptations and imagination and heart and soul.
But now it's become so corporate. Just, I don't know how else to describe it other than that corporate culture that just doesn't get stuff.
So it happens when businesses get too big and they become run by business owners rather than people who know how the industry functions.
People with passion, even, just like...
Well, not even passion, just knowing how the thing functions. Do you think Bob Iger could sit down and direct a movie if he wanted to?
No, but he'll tell them exactly how they have to.
Yeah. Or do you think he'll just dictate plot points?
Oh, there's not enough this in here. You need to put this in. Well, how? Well, I don't know. You figure that out. That's your job.
See, because this is the same kind of stuff dealing in the engineering, uh, trying to frickin' make changes to products, and you have to go through committee after committee. Look, can we take out this one wire term? It'll save us hundreds of dollars per shipment. No, it has to stay like this. Because
That literally makes it not work.
yeah,
And guess what? It doesn't work. There's still one reacting away. There we go. I'm cracked, are you?
I'm 9.
No, you're one away.
There it is. Got it.
Level 56 enemies now. Yeah, this is like high level content now.
Yeah, Fulman ain't doing everything it used to. We can extract after this.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just so sad because in order for things to change for the better, I think they'll have to collapse first. And we're going to have to spend years without good content.
Maybe they can make a
yeah.
structural change. Maybe they can get the CEO out and get... Because that's... Speaking to someone who's been in a corporation for quite a while now, like, that sort of stuff comes from the top. Those kind of cultural decisions that are pervasive like this, those things can change with a new CEO.
Well, he's dropping hints about the presidential run in 2024.
Yeah,
So,
and he does have a fixed term limit, so like a fixed time. Like his end time with the company is already dictated. Our last thing we got was a flawless C5, the thing we were trying to get.
The data you have collected here today will go a long way in supporting our cause.
Got a
but
few
that's
drops.
still a number of years. Yeah, we did. It's still a number of years before we get non-tampered with products again.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, I don't feel it's like AAA games. Like, I'm not interested in buying a AAA game unless it's come out, I've seen what it is, and I have some confidence in it, because they just make trash. And that's what Disney's producing right now. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, the last things they've made. Marvel is on a freaking nosedive towards trash. I feel like Feige is keeping it afloat by his talents alone.
I don't even know about that because it seems like
I said keeping it afloat, not doing great.
okay.
Endgame was great. It had a lot of problems, and like that's what I'm saying. Like you see this continued trend downward.
Yeah, and I think the audiences are going to stop coming back with the announcements of what's coming out. I don't think people are going to keep coming. Nobody liked Captain Marvel to the point where their plan for her is now tied to Spider-Man.
I'm not even sure they have a plan for her anymore. And that's what's so frustrating. Like, you know what? If you were planning on making Captain Marvel the next head of Marvel, do it. Like, where's your creative honor? Like, the fact that you would just shift the entire direction of the Marvel universe based on, ooh, that movie didn't go over so well.
It's not so much how well the movie did; it's how unlikable her character is. People don't want to see her leading. That's the problem. Is the character is not receiving positive reception, like Iron Man. People like Iron Man. I mean,
Yeah.
he was well written, but I did not like his character. But he was a great lead for Marvel. Robert Downey Jr. did a perfect job, and Chris Evans was my favorite. It was able to turn my least favorite superhero into my favorite over the course of one movie.
I don't see that happening with like it could happen though with that's why I'm so frustrated. Like just
Stack so hard against themselves.
that's the problem. And they can't fix it by continuing to shift and like your corporate tactics aren't going to fix your corporate breaking. Like you can't just do a little shifteroo and make it all work. Like you literally removed all of the characters that you had from your universe that everyone has grown and come to love. None of the new characters have earned anything.
You have to start from the ground up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't realize they're essentially starting from square one, and
Yeah, they have to drag people in again.
right now the only place they have that actually done is in Spider-Man. And that's not their property.
Yeah. Well, it is that's news today. I don't know if you saw that. He's back in.
But it's still not their property.
No.
They've got him for 2 more movies. One with Sony, one with Disney. Like that's the new agreement.
One Spider-Man movie and one other movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And I haven't been the hugest fan of. Well, I mean, Tom Holland's fine. It's just I really hated Far From Home. I don't know. And people might like that cliffhanger. I did not like that cliffhanger at all. I was super freaking excited for J. Jonah Jameson. Yes, he's back. And then, he's announcing that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, which means Peter Parker will never work for J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
And
That whole dynamic.
Gone.
Didn't even think of that, but yeah, that's a good point.
Because I'm beginning to think that's all we'll ever see of J. Jonah Jameson is that
It's very
cameo.
possible. That wouldn't surprise me, sadly.
Yeah, that's another complaint I've had overall with Marvel is the inability to establish long-running storylines. Villains are one and done with Marvel, and the only 2 were Loki, which they managed to F up in the end, and Thanos, which they also managed to F up in the end.
Yeah.
Because are there any other even short-term extended villains? I mean, you've got maybe Zola, who has kind of a thing.
Who?
Briefly before the Hail Hydra dude, the computer.
Oh, okay.
The bad guy in First Avenger uploaded into the computer and
Yep.
Yeah.
No, they don't. Gotta.
I've always been a proponent of the better your villains, the better your story, and Marvel doesn't have that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I know that's a personal opinion thing, but
I don't know. I don't feel like they have bad villains. Like some of them are pretty bad, and
I wouldn't say bad villains. I would say underutilized villains, and a failure to use them correctly. Villains being a one and done thing, I think, is a mistake. Marvel is right because Loki was a great character.
yeah,
Watching him grow and change throughout the movies, up until
they just kill him.
So fucking dumb. Sorry, language. I'm a Captain America fan. I should be better about that.
Language cap.
Uh, years of character development just down the drain.
Yeah,
No,
and
he's
then
getting his TV show.
yeah,
No, another Loki is getting a TV show.
yeah, that's what is so frustrating because it's not like they brought him back for a TV show. They literally made a new Loki so they could like reset the clock on it. Oh, what are you voting for?
Grinding.
I was gonna pick a Neptune mission, survival. Get you those polymer bundles.
Isn't that this one, polymer bundles and plastic? Isn't this the one we usually do?
Let me check.
Yeah.
On-
Okay, good.
On Uranus, sir. Yeah, that does look right. You ready?
Okay, no, let me switch frames.
Okay.
The Trinity's 29, but if we're grinding, I have to bring Hydroid.
Oh, actually, I need to change one of my setups. It's just so sad.
I think Marvel Universe is good, but it could have been better.
Yeah, that's for sure.
With not even huge changes. The more I look back on Endgame, the more frustrated I get with it.
Yeah, that was a lot of like missed opportunity. Definitely a lot of.
5-year time gap made me angry, and not Thanos made me angry.
What do you mean not?
It's not the same Thanos.
Oh,
You're trying to do the epic final fight, but it's a different Thanos.
that's fair.
And Black Widow. I didn't notice this the first time, but she gets the same sort of death music, and her entire death is presented the exact same way as Gamora. It's in no way special or specific to her.
Yeah.
And
There were so
they-
many. Oops. So many things they just did. Like, why in Endgame? I still feel like they're a bunch of corporate decisions.
I don't know. What would you say Thor was? I mean, Hulk too. But first, what would you say Thor was?
What do you mean?
The decision on how to change Thor's character. Would you call that corporate?
I don't know. I think that's why I didn't want to say like the current. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit because he really does seem to have struggled with some characters. Like he did a Hulk movie, then he redid Hulk. He did Thor and he redid Thor. Like,
Well, I think at least Hulk, that was mostly the actor.
I feel like that's only part of it, but I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't have enough information on that either.
But it feels like they kept changing certain characters. Like Thor doesn't feel like the same character.
No, and it doesn't feel earned to me either.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I understand his going into depression, but I don't understand his abdicating the throne and leaving. It's almost. It's like he's done a 180 in character, because this is kind of what he was in the first movie.
Exactly.
Some hothead that goes off to nowhere.
It feels like they just kept resetting his character development because they didn't know what to do with him.
And I really, again, I don't like what they did with Hulk, because Hulk pre Hulk is a new Banner is a new character starting in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like I said, I feel like they. Well, no, that's not even fair because they made a new Hulk for the most recent film too. Endgame Hulk is
Yeah.
completely new character.
yeah, well, yeah, he's Banner, and it's
No, I mean like he's not Banner or Hulk. He's a new third. Like
he's both.
no, he's not. He's not. Like he physically is, but he's fundamentally different from the Hulk we had before.
True. Yep.
There wasn't a continuity. Like it just ended up all over the place for a huge amount of the cast.
We can go whenever you want. By the way,
I'm waiting on you.
No, I'm checked. You're not.
Oh, you're right. You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
Well, hey.
I didn't even like what they did with him in Infinity War. It feels like they don't know what to do with Hulk.
Yeah, Hulk and Thor, I think, are two difficult ones. And it's funny, I don't know why they'd bring in someone like Captain Marvel when they've historically had such problems with the overpowered characters.
And people hate on Thor Dark World, and that's fine. But I really like the Tolkien lore. Thor and Loki.
Loki.
I like their dynamic in that movie. And I liked all the exploration of Asgard in that. Asgard was very interesting to me. Fun spot to set up and just kind of camp.
Yeah, I'm bringing a Penta, so I need to be able to set up. Yeah, I really don't feel like they know what to do with Thor or Hulk. They're just, I don't know, too strong and powerful to be managed appropriately or something. I don't.
Well, and I'll even say they screwed up Captain America's ending too.
God, they fumbled that one so hard. Because that was like at the end zone. Still not sure how they managed to fumble that one so badly. Gave him such a good, happy
I would
ending.
say the committee.
Yeah, I feel like it.
Found.
Oh, it's just so depressing. I'm getting less and less excited for Feige on
Yeah, I
Star
don't.
Wars.
I struggle to attribute any success or
Or
struggle or failure. Yeah, I really do. I struggle to attribute any success or failure with him. I don't know what to do. That's. I mean, and to switch gears a little, I don't have anything against the Brie Larson. I was gonna say Allison. Brie.
Yeah, that was one thing that I've seen that like Brie Larson may be coming to Star Wars.
I have no issues with her acting. Well, assuming the character is written well.
But that's not something within
like
her
it.
control. Like,
Yeah,
I dislike Brie Larson as a person based
Yes.
on the interviews, and it sounds like she's a real chore to work with. But
sounds like she has a real ego.
I don't think she's a bad actress. I mean, she's literally like, what is it, an Oscar, Emmy award winning,
Academy Award winner.
Academy Award winning actress.
We should
And we
watch
still
that.
need to watch. Yeah, we do still need to watch that. I feel that she got stuck in a really difficult situation. Like, she did what she was supposed to do, and I don't think she could have done that better.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't blame her for the writing of the character, but she did kind of act like a jerk even around other Avengers on tour. Like,
Oh,
have you
yeah.
seen her interact with
Once
Chris
again,
Hemsworth?
she's a jerk. It seems like she's a real jerk, a real ego, real difficult to work with. But honestly, that doesn't bother me much.
Yeah, I would agree.
Everyone has coworkers like that. Like, that's part of life. If she's good at what she
Yeah,
does, I'm more than happy to put up with that. My warframe is strong.
let's go on the offensive. My big problem is announcing it like Kevin Feige wants to do a Star Wars movie starring Brie Larson. To me, says why are we picking an actor before we pick a story?
And for me, it's like, why would you opt into that drama? You know people are already really unhappy with her, and
Well, there's rumors that Kevin Feige and Brie Larson have a thing,
like, romantic.
like something like that. There's some kind of attachment because apparently this was a thing with Joss Whedon for a while too.
With Brie
where he
Larson?
had- No, with an actor, Eliza Dushku. She ended up appearing in a lot of his stuff in a lot of generally favorable places. This is just stuff I found out about today, so I don't want to claim to know more than rumor.
Our operative is
But
this will help our cause.
it's potential that there's favoritism going on rather than picking.
What
the
you mean,
person for the
corporate
job.
cronyism?
No, that would never happen, dude. I wouldn't even possibly dare to suggest something like that would be happening. Oh, what am I doing? I am Hydroid, not Trinity. I need to be ability spamming. Sorry.
You should be. I'm just standing up above, launching grenades into the... I don't think I have any mods on my Penta because it does, like, no damage. I can't even kill myself with it.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like bringing Brie in is probably a terrible idea. I don't personally mind it. Because...
I think, again, it goes back to marketing. I think announcing an actress being brought in rather than we have a new story planned out is wrong.
I've delivered enough life support capsule.
yeah.
There isn't a lot of story first going on
No, not much at all.
in Disney.
Man, Disney isn't giving a crap about story at all lately.
And that's
so
especially for
sad.
Star Wars. It's so contrary to the legacy of Star Wars. It should be like a rule. If you're going to write a story, you should know where you're ending when you start, so you can get there.
Like, if you've got a trilogy, you should have a trilogy story written. And that's, I really, like,
It should be the basic requirement.
Prepare for life support.
I feel so bad for Lucas. Like, this has literally tainted his legacy. Something that he poured his life into and, you know, made him what he is today.
I remember back when Force Awakens first came out, and he was like, "Well, I managed to sell my kids off to white slavers." And I
Yeah.
was
Ooh, man, that was a little rough. But then you see, like, they literally, like, some of the
He's gotten-
like, how they actually got it, it sounds like to me, and this is a little speculative, they did buy his stories. Like, not
Yeah,
like...
they bought the ideas.
like, separate.
Yep.
Like, and it, to me, that sounds like they use that as negotiating tactics. Basically, like, that would influence me if I'm him.
Well, it sounds like what they did is they bought it with Disney stocks, is what I've heard. So which puts George in the awkward position of, oh, if I talk out about against this and the entire company goes under, I lose all the money I made.
What I was getting at is, I feel like by buying his stories, they basically bribed him or made him more comfortable that they weren't going to just screw it up. In actuality, they didn't have any intention of using his stories, I don't think.
Yeah, it seems like there was no plan even from the start to.
Like, they never
give
had an
George
intention.
Any consideration.
And which only leads me to the idea that they did the corporate move of buying his stuff just to grease the wheels so he would sell.
If you get a minute, you should pull up that article because I want to specifically talk about one of Iger's quotes. I think he says, but George didn't understand the kind of pressure we were under to produce a film that the audience would like. And I'm like, you're talking about George fucking Lucas. Of course he does. Of all the people in Hollywood, of all the filmmakers to live, he would be the one to understand the pressure.
Yeah, like, do you remember him making the prequel trilogy and all the flack he got for that?
Jeez. He is starting with Return of the Jedi because people weren't as big of fans of Return of the Jedi.
Look what they've just
It's
found. Can't do this without you.
so freaking slimy. And I hate that they control the damn entertainment industry.
Incoming.
Yeah. And it sucks because, like, they could be good.
Yeah, they have the tools, they have the talent. As Ghostbusters once so eloquently proclaimed.
There's no reason why they can't be the benevolent overlords that they have been for so long. Like, they just need to stop being slimy businessmen and get back to their roots of being Disney. Like, you look at Disney World, that's still, I still feel like I feel bad for the new Star Wars world. I don't think it's anything it did wrong, it just had the bad happenstance of to be based on frickin' Last Jedi, which is one of the worst cinematic, disgusting piles of vomit. It's the same reason why they can't sell Star Wars toys. It's nothing that they did wrong with the park, it's the fact that it's based on something that doesn't sell. And, like, how far do you have to have fallen to take Star Wars? I mean, Star Wars!
Just
And not be able to make toys that make money.
man, Star Wars is freaking huge. I mean, even looking into it's affected other cultures too. You go into Japan and play any Final Fantasy game, and I think this is just Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Star Wars sales are currently lower than they were in the 30-year gap between the original and prequel. It's depressing.
And the more I go back and, like, the justification I gave for why I thought that, oh, what was it? Not The Last Jedi. The first one. The Force Awakens. My defense for Force Awakens feels so much more like trying to justify the corporate decision to make a real bog standard, non-offensive Star Wars movie to appease the masses.
Yeah,
A soft reboot, yeah. The more I look at it, the more Star Wars just is a soft reboot. They literally just redid it with new characters.
I didn't understand the pressure we were under. Dude, you didn't either.
Yeah, what pressure? You just literally produced the same product again. He did that without the major brand behind it. What's your excuse? You just made a bad product.
Well, I started off pretty positive on Force Awakens too. I think a lot of people did.
It's not a bad movie. in isolation.
There are things you could do with what the Force Awakens did. I mean, I don't think J.J. Abrams can do it because I don't think he's a good writer.
Hey, he's better than Ryan Johnson.
We'll see.
I literally
I
can't
have-
think of something worse than the disaster
We'll
that Ryan
see.
Johnson produced.
Have you heard some of the leaks?
Oh, it sounds like time travel is going to be involved. Oh.
I don't know. It's all over.
Well, that's because they don't know what they're going to do, which is just so disgusting.
You see, because to bring it back, I think Disney did try to go with the Marvel approach to making Star Wars movies. They grab relatively lesser known directors, take them on a movie and say, here, go ahead. And that doesn't work with a cohesive trilogy.
Yeah. I'm just getting flashbacks to the freaking Hobbit trilogy. How you can take like a franchise of just gold, and you can just poop all over it so fast.
Well, and I know Hobbit movies aren't very good, but I will defend at least the people working directly on the movie till the end of the time. 'Cause, yeah, I don't blame Peter Jackson.
Yeah, if you looked
was
at the
brought in-
video on like a deep dive into that,
The Lindsay Sterling one.
yeah, I believe that's the one.
Yep, she's a bit hyperbolic for my taste.
Because I think a lot of the stuff she points or brings to the light hugely affects it. Like that they didn't have like the staff. They didn't have the. They just started shooting. They were writing and
Yeah,
directing.
they were writing as they were going. Yeah, and that's why I don't blame
Yeah.
like Jackson or the actors. The problem was they had literal years of prep time to set up Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson went to every studio trying to get them to back it the way he wanted to do it. And then for this one, they just drag him in and say, here, go, without any of the tools he had to work with. So,
Once again, a corporate decision freaking ruins.
I need to show you the appendices at some point, because you can watch that when Peter Jackson finds out that he has to do another movie. He kind of collapses on set. You feel so bad for him. He's laying down on some of the rocks, and he just looks so sad.
Just so defeated.
Because they were basically done when they got told, oh, we're making it 3.
Why would, the fact that they made it 3 movies is another freaking corporate decision.
Yep. We got to try and copy what worked in the past.
Instead of evaluating why that decision was made and why it worked, just, yeah, 3's the way to go.
Try and replicate the mechanics without the heart and the soul.
And it's literally what is killing the AAA market right now. It's the same exact problem. You get them to buy up BioWare, a company that is known throughout the industry for their story-driven games, across genres, across so many generations of systems,
Franchises, gameplay.
and then you stick them on an MMO Destiny clone, and then get pissed at them when they don't succeed. Why would you make them do something that they're not any good at?
Well, EA has been shit for years. And it's not like EA turning out to be shit is a surprise.
But they had to get there. And I think that's where Disney's headed. They're just doing exactly what EA did. And I don't know if there's a comeback from that. I've yet to see a company do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's at the exit shortly. That's my real problem right now. Like, I am so pessimistic about Disney right now that I don't think there's anything that could happen that would make me optimistic for the Force Awakens. Or Rise of Skywalker.
No. We are going to watch a train wreck. That's what's going to happen.
Like, how much of a train wreck we yet to be seen, but it is gonna be a train wreck.
I can't wait for it to not break $1 billion.
I am so sick and tired, and I hate the freaking commentators that pander and like let them get away with Star Wars fatigue.
It's stupid. It is so easily disprovable.
Well, you can't disprove it, but
Yes, you can. Marvel.
that's what I was going to
Done.
say. Like, Marvel's the perfect example of why that shouldn't be a problem. And if they were doing anywhere halfway decent, like Marvel has been doing halfway decent, they'd have no excuse. They have no excuse.
It's not Marvel fatigue. It's shitty movie fatigue.
Yeah. You make a shitty movie, they're not going to come see it.
I'm still pissed that Lion King and Aladdin has succeeded at the box office. God, those are both. Well,
We haven't seen Lion King, but
Yeah.
did you watch the Aladdin review I sent you?
Yes, I did, and I was like, "Thank you."
I thought you'd appreciate that.
I'm so glad to not hear someone say, "Oh, it's just like the original." No, it's not. You
It's just
bastards.
worse than the original in every way. Literally,
I'm glad somebody else called Aladdin an asshole in that movie because I knew he was.
yeah, he really was. I didn't catch it, but he was just a bad person.
Yes,
Just a bad person.
he learns nothing. All right, give me a sec. I'm gonna fill up on my tea again.
Oh, I think let's call this review
Yeah, you're probably
commentate.
right.
I need to go to bed. Jesus, I
Time
did.
is it?
1:30.
Oh, geez. Have to be at the party in 12 hours.
What party? Or here,
Yeah.
any words of wisdom?
No.
Bye bye.